All right, my beautiful Aries souls, gather close, because what I am about to share with you is a message that has been forged in the very heart of the cosmos, specifically for you. Are you ready to feel a shift so profound it will realign the very essence of your being? Because a divine investigation is underway, a sacred cosmic audit, and it is centered directly on your fiery, magnificent life. But I want you to take a deep, calming breath right here, right now. Feel the air fill your lungs. This is not a message of fear. Oh no, my warrior friends, you are not the one on trial. The universe is not looking at you with judgment. Instead, it is looking through you, using your incredible spirit as its lens. Your ancestral guardians, the warriors of your bloodline, are awakening and standing with you, not to shield you from a coming storm, but to sharpen your sword and polish your armor for the victory that is already yours. They are examining the very foundations of your life, the ground upon which you stand. If your heart is pounding, if you feel a surge of energy right now, then do me a favor. Let me know in the comments below by typing "I am the warrior" and "I am ready." And if you haven't already, please press that subscribe button to join our tribe here at Astrology Unlocked. We are on this cosmic journey together, and I wouldn't want you to miss a single moment of the magic that is unfolding just for you. Now let's begin this sacred journey into the heart of the truth, where a trait that was once condemned will become your most radiant and unstoppable weapon. Have you ever been told that you are simply too much, that your passion burns too brightly, that your words are too direct, your actions too impulsive? Have you been made to feel that your righteous anger, that incredible fire that surges within you when you witness injustice, is something to be tamed, something to be extinguished? My dear beautiful Aries, I am here to tell you that you are not alone, and more importantly, you have never ever been wrong. You, the first sign of the zodiac, were not born to be gentle water seeping quietly into the background. You were born to be a supernova, a blazing fire of truth and action, meant to illuminate the darkness and forge new paths where none existed before. That very impulsiveness they criticized, that is your divine intuition speaking through action. That directness they found uncomfortable, that is your soul refusing to participate in deception. And that too much that you carry is precisely what makes you the universe's chosen warrior, the first to charge into battle when truth is on the line. They called you reckless, but they failed to see the courage behind your conviction. They called you aggressive, but they didn't understand that your spirit is allergic to lies and stagnation. Your fire isn't a fragile, uncontrolled emotion. It is the very forge of heaven, the sacred flame through which the universe burns away illusion and reveals what is real, what is true, and what is worth fighting for. Right now, we are in a period of profound cosmic significance for you. Chiron, the celestial body known as the wounded healer, is traveling through your sign of Aries. This is an incredibly rare and potent transit. It is not here to simply stir up old battles or reopen old wounds for the sake of pain. No, its purpose is far more sacred. It is pulling up the very root of every time you were told your fire was bad, every time you were punished for being yourself, every time you dimmed your own light to make others feel more comfortable. It is here to heal the warrior's spirit itself. If you have been feeling a restless energy, a sense of impatience, or a deep, soul-level frustration with the world around you, that is not random chaos, my friend. It is a divine activation. A spiritual recalibration has begun. And you courageous Aries are at the epicenter of this cosmic earthquake. I have heard so many astrologers and so-called gurus speak about Aries with a note of caution in their voices. They're too impulsive, they'll say. They act before they think. But I have also witnessed time and time again, those very same people stand in absolute awe when an Aries' impulsive decision turns out to be a stroke of genius, when their reckless leap of faith lands them exactly where they needed to be. Your spirit is not a liability. It is a sacred early warning system gifted to you by the cosmos. Aries is the only sign that can smell inauthenticity. From a mile away, the only one brave enough to call out a lie, while everyone else is still politely pretending it's the truth. In astrology, you are the beginning, the spark of creation itself, the one who carries the raw, untamed energy of life. That's why you don't just feel your own drive, you feel the frustration of a world that is too slow, too complacent, too afraid to change. But that is also why you get burned so often. You leap to defend others before they've even asked. You speak the truth before people are ready to hear it. You throw your entire heart into a cause only to find others were not as committed. And in a world that often rewards conformity and polite silence, your raw honesty can be dismissed. Worse, it can be labeled as disruptive or chaotic. But the truth, my dear Aries, always finds its champion. Let me share a story with you, a true story that perfectly illustrates this divine power. There was a young Aries man, a brilliant innovator in the tech world. He had an idea for a new platform that was radical groundbreaking. He pitched it to his board of directors, and they all shook their heads. It's too risky, they said. It's too impulsive. It goes against everything we know. They told him to shelve it, to follow the established path. He was frustrated, angry even. But that night, he felt that familiar fire in his gut, a voice that screamed, "This is the way." He couldn't ignore it. So he took the biggest risk of his life. He resigned, cashed out his savings, and built the platform himself. For 2 years, he struggled. People in the industry called him a fool, a reckless Aries who had thrown away a brilliant career. But he trusted that fire. And then it happened. The market shifted, a sudden, unexpected change, and his platform was the only one perfectly positioned to meet the new demand. He became an industry legend overnight. No one was more surprised than the very people who once called him a fool. Do you see? Your impulsive nature, your fire, doesn't need external validation. It only needs you to believe in it, to honor the sacred divine spark that the universe planted within your soul. The great texts say, "The hero is not the one who is without fear, but the one who acts in spite of it." Your impulsiveness is not a lack of thought. It is the highest form of courage, the wisdom of your soul acting in real time. You might be listening to this right now, feeling that familiar restlessness, sitting in a world that doesn't seem to understand the urgency you feel in your heart. But let me assure you, you are not crazy. You are being upgraded. Chiron in Aries is asking you to reclaim your fire, not as a weapon of destruction, but as your internal compass, your North Star. Remember this. Has there been an idea nagging at you, one that everyone else calls impractical? Have you felt a sudden urge to walk away from a situation that looks perfect on the surface but feels wrong in your soul? Is there a truth burning on your tongue that no one else dares to speak? That is not chaos. That is a cosmic signal. Your spirit, after taking too many hits for being true, has learned to trust its own divine timing. And now, the universe is using you not just as a flashlight, but as a lightning bolt in a dark world where truth has been hidden for far too long. You don't need to second-guess yourself anymore. Just trust your fire is not too much. It is simply responding to a divine call that others are not brave enough to answer. Take a moment, place your hand over your heart, and ask yourself, the last time I took a leap of faith that everyone else called crazy, was I ultimately proven right? If the answer is yes, my friend, then you already know exactly what you need to do. In the next part, those who once tried to extinguish your flame are about to enter a very dangerous territory because the cosmos is no longer tolerating their shadows. And every truth you once felt in your gut will now be confirmed by undeniable action. Stay with me, because what is coming next will prove to you that justice doesn't need an army. It only needs a single unapologetic spark of truth. And you, my dear Aries, are that spark. There are dismissive words once thrown at you like stones that were thought to have been forgotten. There are betrayals once believed to have been buried by the relentless march of time. But for an Aries soul, nothing ever truly vanishes, because you don't just remember an injustice, you carry its fire in your very cells. Every slight, every manipulation, every attempt to hold you back leaves a supercharged particle in your energetic field. You may have moved on. You may have charged ahead, thinking you were leaving it all in the dust. You may have chosen to simply blaze a new trail, believing that was the end of it. But now, the universe itself is calling for a cosmic court-martial, and it is summoning those who wronged you. Not so you can turn back and gloat at their downfall, but so you can witness the irrefutable power of truth rising like a phoenix from the ashes. And my friends, the truth never ever overlooks a debt. Saturn, the great planet of karma and divine structure, is currently in a retrograde phase. As it appears to move backward through the sky, it is creating a powerful moment of review. It is a deep, karmic cleansing where those who once manipulated your pioneering spirit, lied about your intentions, or exploited your courageous heart will begin to reap the consequences of the seeds they have sown. This is not about revenge. It is about cosmic balance. So do not be surprised, dear Aries, if you hear that someone from your past who tried to sabotage your success is now facing professional ruin. Don't be alarmed if that person who once spread lies about your character suddenly finds themselves exposed and isolated. They haven't just disappeared from your life by chance. They have been summoned by the immutable laws of cause and effect. As the ancient texts remind us, that which is done in darkness will be brought into the light. And no one escapes the light, my friends, especially not those who once hid their deceit behind a mask of friendship or love while trying to dim yours. I once knew an Aries woman, a force of nature in her community, who poured her heart and soul into starting a local charity. Her business partner, a man she trusted completely, began to subtly undermine her, spreading rumors that she was reckless with funds and too aggressive in her leadership. He eventually orchestrated a coup, pushing her out of the very organization she had built from scratch. For years, she was devastated, her reputation tarnished. But she didn't fight back with lawsuits or public accusations. Her Aries spirit simply said, "Fine, I'll build something even better." And she did. She started a new project, pouring all that fiery energy into it. 3 years later, the truth came out in the most unexpected way. Her former partner was arrested for a massive embezzlement scheme in a completely unrelated business. During the investigation, forensic accountants uncovered a trail of fraud that led all the way back to the charity. It turned out he had been siphoning funds for years and had pushed her out because she was getting too close to discovering the truth. Every lie he told about her was a projection of his own crimes. In the end, he was imprisoned, and she, the woman once labeled aggressive and reckless, was publicly vindicated and asked to return and lead the original charity, which she now runs alongside her new, even more successful venture. I will never forget the look in her eyes when she told me this story. There was no smug satisfaction, only the fierce, quiet pride of a warrior who knew her own truth all along. That, my friends, is true cosmic justice. It didn't arrive on her timetable, but it arrived with undeniable force. Do you see? The universe doesn't need you to stop your forward momentum to fight old battles. It only requires that you continue to be your authentic, fiery self. It only asks that you refuse to become bitter, that you refuse to let their shadows extinguish your light. Because only when you move forward, only when you continue to create and to lead, can the cosmos step in and clean up the debris you left behind. Those who once tried to clip your wings and put you in a cage are now finding themselves imprisoned by the very limitations they tried to impose on you. They cannot soar because they operate from a place of fear and scarcity. They cannot be free because true freedom only belongs to those who live in their truth, and you, Aries, are a beacon of that truth. You may not see it all at once, but pay attention to the cosmic whispers. Those who once manipulated you are now facing unexpected obstacles and karmic roadblocks. Those who slandered your name are finding their own words turning against them. Those who deceived you are now living in a state of constant anxiety, terrified of being exposed. Not because you wished it upon them, but because energy does not lie, and time is the most relentless investigator. So take a deep breath and let that fire in your chest burn with pride, not anger. You do not need to raise your voice to be defended. You do not need to present evidence to be proven innocent. You only need to continue believing in the power of your own light, knowing that every dishonest word ever spoken against you is now boomeranging back to its source with interest. The universe does not forget, and you, my dear Aries, no longer need to carry the burden of remembering, because the truth is now fighting its own battles on your behalf. In the next part, you will come to understand that the intense challenges you have faced are not a punishment. They are the sacred initiation of a soul, carrying a divine mission to shatter the karmic chains of a warrior bloodline. Stay right here, because what is coming next is where you will finally understand the true reason you were born to fight, and why it is you, and only you, who has the power to declare a final, lasting victory. Have you ever felt a surge of righteous anger in your veins that felt bigger than the situation at hand? A fierce protective instinct that seemed almost ancient, a drive to fight for justice that was so profound it felt like it was etched into your very DNA. Perhaps you found yourself in repeating patterns of conflict, of betrayal by allies, of having to fight tooth and nail for things that seem to come easily to others. And in your quieter moments, you've asked the universe, why is my path always a battle? What did I do to deserve this constant struggle? But the truth, my magnificent warrior, is that you did nothing wrong. You are simply the one who was chosen. This is not a burden of blame. It is a sacred call to arms, an awakening to your true purpose. The chaos you have navigated is not merely your own personal story. It is the echo of your ancestors' unfinished wars, their unresolved battles for honor and truth. Current astrology illuminates this with breathtaking clarity. The South Node, which represents our karmic past and the debts we carry, is currently in Libra, the sign of relationships, balance, and justice. Directly opposite in your sign is the North Node, representing your soul's ultimate destiny. This cosmic axis is pulling you away from the Libra tendency to keep the peace at your own expense and is propelling you toward your Aries North Node destiny to be a courageous, independent leader who stands unapologetically in your own truth. The battles you are facing are a divine stirring, bringing to the surface inherited warrior energies and karmic patterns that are in desperate need of a final, victorious resolution. You are not just living your own life, my dear Aries. You are carrying the torch for a long line of warriors, pioneers, and rebels. The battles they didn't win, the injustices they couldn't overcome, are now rising within your own spirit, not to haunt you, but to be conquered by you. Ancient wisdom teaches that karma doesn't just travel between lifetimes. It flows through our bloodlines. We inherit the courage, but also the conflicts of our forefathers and foremothers. If you've ever felt like you're fighting an invisible enemy, a pattern of being underestimated, challenged, or betrayed, it might not be your fight alone. It could be a warrior's energy imprinted in your very soul, waiting for a champion brave enough to step forward and claim the final victory. So many Aries souls carry the weight of battles they never started. They are the ones chosen to end them. Let me share the story of an Aries man. I met, a firefighter who came from a long line of soldiers. His father, his grandfather, his great-grandfather, they had all been men of war. And all his life, he felt this immense, undefined rage inside him, a constant need for conflict. It cost him relationships, jobs, and his own peace of mind. He fought with everyone, always feeling like he was at war, even in times of peace. He thought he was just a bad-tempered Aries. One day, through ancestral healing work, he connected with the spirit of his great-grandfather, a man who had died in a brutal, unjust conflict, feeling betrayed by his commanders. In that moment of connection, the firefighter was flooded with a vision of that betrayal, the rage, the helplessness. He realized the anger he had been carrying wasn't entirely his own. It was his great-grandfather's unresolved cry for justice. He wasn't born to perpetuate the war. He was born to finally bring peace to his bloodline. From that day forward, his life transformed. He channeled that incredible Aries fire, not into personal conflicts, but into his work, becoming one of the bravest firefighters in his city, fighting to save lives. He stopped asking, "Why am I so angry?" and started declaring, "I understand now, and I will be the one to turn this warrior's rage into a hero's courage." Can you see it now, my friend? You're not repaying a debt from this life. You are settling a sacred account from generations past. And here is the most important part. Only a soul strong enough, brave enough, and fiery enough is chosen for such a monumental mission. You might feel like you've been fighting alone, but in truth, you are standing at the head of a legion of ancestral spirits, those who came before you. And they are not looking down on you with pity. They are looking at you with awe and reverence for your courage. They couldn't finish the fight while they were alive, So they entrusted their sword to you, not to burden you, but so you could bring it to a place of honor and rest. Do you remember the last time you felt an overwhelming urge to defend someone who couldn't defend themselves? Have you ever felt your blood boil at an injustice that didn't directly affect you? Have you ever felt like you were being tested and pushed to your limits without understanding why? If the answer is yes, then you have already begun to hear the call. You may not be the first in your line to fight, but you are the one destined to be the last one standing in this particular war. And the only thing you need to do is to accept this sacred truth. This battle was not started by you, but the victory that is the gift that only you can claim. Place your hand on your solar plexus, the seat of your power, the fiery core, where your ancestors poured their warrior spirit into you, and say, thank you. Not because their path was perfect, but because they were not equipped to do what you are doing now. The divine investigation you are undergoing, the intense pressure you feel, it is not a punishment. It is the initiation ritual of a soul chosen to end the cycle of conflict that has echoed across generations. In the next part, you will see that the light of truth is no longer waiting in the wings. It is taking center stage, and the flimsy facades of deception have nowhere left to hide. Stay with me, because what is coming will unravel an entire empire of lies with nothing more than your silent, powerful presence. There are truths you have known for a very long time, Aries. You saw them with a clarity that was almost painful. You didn't always speak them, not because you were afraid, but because some deep, ancient wisdom within you knew that certain truths have their own divine timing. You waited for the truth to walk onto the battlefield on its own, without a grand declaration, without you needing to champion its cause. That is the hidden gift of a mature Aries soul. You have the fire to force a confrontation, but you also possess the wisdom to know when your very presence is confrontation enough. You can feel the weakness in a liar's argument, sense the insecurity behind a bully's bravado, and yet you often choose not to expose it with a fiery blast. Instead, you simply stand in your own power, unmoved and unintimidated. And what has been hidden for the longest time is often what creates the most spectacular collapse, when it can no longer withstand the pressure of your unwavering light. My Friends, that collapse has begun. As we move toward 2025, Neptune, the planet of illusion and deception, will be in your sign, Aries. This is a monumental shift. While Venus, the planet of harmony, moves into the grounded sign of Taurus, there is a subtle tension in the cosmos. Neptune in Aries is like a spiritual fog lifter. Its energy is quietly but persistently dissolving the illusions you have had about your own power, and more importantly, the illusions others have tried to build around you. This period is ripe for uncovering the unclear, the deceptive, and the inauthentic in all your relationships, especially those built on a false premise of power or control. The truth will begin to reveal itself not through dramatic explosions, but through subtle tests of integrity which false structures will inevitably fail. I used to believe that for an Aries, justice always meant a fight. You had to charge, confront, and conquer. But I learned the opposite by watching the most powerful Aries souls. True justice for them often arrives in the aftermath of their decision to simply walk away. And the truth, it doesn't need your defense. Truth only needs you to be so grounded in your own reality that the lie has no air to breathe. I once witnessed this with an Aries woman, a corporate executive, who was being systematically undermined by a jealous colleague. He would steal her ideas and present them as his own, subtly sabotaging her projects. She knew exactly what was happening. Her fiery instinct was to confront him publicly, to expose him in a board meeting. But a wiser, deeper part of her held her back. Instead of fighting him on his level, she simply doubled down on her own brilliance. She started documenting everything meticulously. She focused on her work with a laser-like intensity, delivering results that were so undeniably hers, they couldn't be questioned. She didn't make a scene. She simply became so excellent, so undeniably powerful in her role that his petty deceptions looked more and more ridiculous in comparison. The truth came out 6 months later. During a major project pitch, he tried to claim one of her ideas, not realizing she had already emailed the detailed proposal to the CEO the night before. He was exposed not by her accusations, but by his own greed and her quiet strategic brilliance. He was fired, and she was promoted. Do you see now? That is how truth wins, not through a louder roar, but through a more powerful light. You don't have to chase down justice. It will be delivered to you in a way that solidifies your honor. You don't have to scream to prove you are right, because your actions, your integrity, and your success have a voice of their own. And when that voice speaks, everything false begins to crumble. Truth doesn't enjoy chaos. It arrives like the sun at dawn, inevitable, silent, and all-powerful. If anyone ever believed you were just a hothead who would burn out today, your steady, enduring flame is the most powerful rebellion. Those who once thought they could outsmart you now tremble because you are still here, still climbing, and still true. You do not need to tear down their house of cards, because a structure built on lies will always fall on its own. If you have recently felt the powerful urge to pivot, to walk away from a battle, if you have felt a sudden disinterest in proving yourself to certain people, if you are no longer energized by the conflicts that once consumed you, that is a profound sign that the truth is about to do its own work. Trust that instinct. Instead of speaking the truth, simply be the truth and watch as it reveals everything else. Stay centered and feel the truth approaching. You have seen enough, fought enough, and known enough. And because you chose integrity over immediate confrontation, the truth remained pure and untouchable. Imagine yourself as a polished diamond. All light that hits you is reflected back with brilliant clarity. All those who are false will see their own distorted reflection in your strength. You don't need to expose anyone. They will expose themselves, because a powerful light leaves no room for shadows. And now the final, most glorious part of this journey is drawing near, where every karmic arrest leads to a new and unprecedented kind of freedom, and where you will finally realize that everything you once thought was a battle lost was actually the first critical step toward your ultimate liberation. Some events in our lives look like devastating endings, but are in fact the glorious beginning of a new chapter, a new lifetime of purpose. Some moments feel like a total collapse, but they are actually the sound of your soul-breaking chains you didn't even know you were wearing. My dear Aries, you are not being imprisoned by these recent challenges. You are being liberated from the very battles that once made you forget the true nature of your power. Jupiter, the magnificent planet of expansion, luck, and wisdom, has just moved from earthy Taurus into airy Gemini. For an Aries soul, this is a cosmic liberation. Gemini is the sign of communication, ideas, and expression. This is the moment where the universe is not only validating your fiery instincts, but is daring you to lead with your voice, to share your vision, to step into your role as the pioneer and teacher. It's time to move beyond mere endurance and to break free from the cage that once protected you, but now limits your reach. Nothing in your life is random, Aries. Every shock, every challenge, and every unexpected turn carries a divine message. The shake-ups in your life do not come to destroy you. They come to force your warrior spirit out of a battlefield that has become too small for you. You may have been knocked down by injustice. You may have once believed you didn't have the strength to get back up one more time, but you are still here, and that is the ultimate proof. You have survived the harshest sentence of all the prison of fighting meaningless wars. The Buddha taught that our greatest suffering comes from our attachments. For an Aries, the greatest attachment can be to the fight itself, but the hardest blow is often the one that grants the greatest release. I once knew an Aries man, a political activist, who was fiercely dedicated to a particular cause. He poured his entire life into it, fighting day and night. One day, he was publicly betrayed by the very leaders he had championed. They threw him under the bus to save themselves. His whole world crumbled. The whispers and judgments were relentless. He was a warrior without an army, a leader without a cause. He felt utterly broken. He stayed silent, not out of defeat, but because for the first time, he had nothing left to fight for. And in that silence, a new truth emerged. The investigation into the scandal not only cleared his name completely, but exposed the deep corruption within the movement he had served. He was honored for his integrity, the only one who had remained true. Do you see? The betrayal didn't come to destroy him. It came to pull him out of a fight that was no longer worthy of his spirit. It freed him to find his true purpose. Today, he runs his own foundation, a true leader, fighting a battle that is authentically his. So many of us live our lives inside a cage of other people's expectations. The fear of being judged, the fear of losing our position, the fear of not being seen as the strong one. But the moment you face the thing you fear most, betrayal, loss, being cast out, you are no longer a prisoner. Because no one can punish a soul that is no longer afraid. This investigation, this arrest, is a powerful symbol. It is the universe telling you to stop imprisoning yourself in battles that drain your spirit. You have survived everything that was meant to break you. You have endured the betrayals of allies. You have walked through the fires of criticism and still kept your heart ablaze with passion. So now you can finally live your truth, no longer hiding your power, no longer fighting for anyone's approval but your own. You are no longer a soldier on trial. You are the commander. You are the pioneer. You are the one who forges the path. Place your hand on your heart and whisper, "I am free." Free from pointless conflict. Free from the expectations of others. Free from past defeats. And free from the sentence of being a warrior without a worthy cause. This is not the end of your fight, Aries. This is a resurrection. A karmic cycle of struggle has just been shattered, and you, magnificent soul, have done what few are brave enough to do. You have faced the fire, you have forgiven the past, and you have risen to a higher calling. Now is the time to close this sacred journey with a blessing for your warrior's heart. May your spirit remain untamed. May truth always be your sharpest sword. And may every soul who once challenged you learn the lesson they need, not for your satisfaction, but so the universe no longer needs to send its warriors to teach them.